The most painful goodbye is not always the moment someone leaves. Sometimes it is watching them slowly become emotionally absent while they are still beside you. People often ask, why did they change? Why did they leave? What did I do wrong? When did they stop caring? But sometimes people do not leave suddenly. They leave gradually. First, they stop being curious. Then they stop trying to repair. Then they stop explaining. Then they stop reaching for emotional closeness. And by the time they physically leave, they may have already left emotionally. Psychology calls this emotional withdrawal. It happens when a person begins disconnecting internally before they ends the relationship externally. They may still reply, they may still be present, they may still say, everything is fine, but emotionally something has changed. The warmth feels gone. The effort feels different, the conversations become shorter, and the other person begins feeling it before they can prove it. That is what makes emotional withdrawal so painful. It creates confusion because the person is still there, but their emotional presence is disappearing. The mind begins overthinking every detail. Was it something I said? Did I become too much? Are they losing feelings? Should I try harder? And many people blame themselves, but someone becoming emotionally distant does not always mean you failed. Sometimes people leave because they do not know how to communicate honestly. Sometimes because emotional intimacy becomes uncomfortable. Sometimes because they avoid difficult conversations. And sometimes because they want the relationship to end but do not want to carry the guilt of ending it clearly. So instead of speaking honestly, they withdraw slowly. They become colder, less available, less emotionally responsible, and eventually the other person is forced to feel the breakup before it is even spoken. This is why slow emotional withdrawal can feel more painful than direct rejection, because direct rejection gives clarity. But emotional distance creates uncertainty, and the human mind struggles deeply with uncertainty. It keeps searching for the moment everything changed. The exact sentence, the exact mistake, the exact reason. But sometimes there is no single moment. Sometimes love does not disappear in one dramatic ending. Sometimes it fades through repeated emotional absence, missed effort, unspoken resentment, avoided conversations, and small moments where one person stops choosing connection. Carl Jung once wrote, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Many people do not fully understand why they withdraw. They may not say, I am emotionally leaving. Instead, they act it out through silence, avoidance, coldness, distance, lack of effort. And this leaves the other person emotionally confused because they are trying to save a relationship. The other person has already started leaving internally. Still, it is important to understand something. Not every person who leaves is cruel. Some people leave because they are confused. Some leave because they are afraid. Some leave because they never learned how to stay emotionally present when relationships become difficult. But no matter the reason, emotional withdrawal without honesty can deeply hurt the person left behind because it makes them question their worth. They begin thinking, maybe I was not enough. But someone's inability to communicate does not define your value. Someone's emotional distance does not automatically mean you were unlovable. Someone leaving does not always mean you failed. Sometimes it means they did not have the emotional maturity to stay honest. Sometimes it means they chose silence instead of courage. And perhaps the deepest psychological truth is this. The person who loved honestly often suffers the most, and because they keep trying to understand someone who stopped explaining. They keep searching for answers inside someone else's silence. They keep blaming themselves for a distance they did not create alone. Healing begins when you stop asking only, why did they leave? And start asking, did they have the emotional capacity to stay, communicate, and repair? Because love is not only about feeling something, love is also about emotional responsibility. The hardest goodbye is not always when someone walks away. Sometimes it is realizing they had already left emotionally. While you were still trying to hold the relationship together,